So thanks for clicking on the video. It's Danielle. Today I'm just going to be doing a quick reading update. So please like, comment and subscribe. And yeah, with that being said, let's start talking about the books I've been reading today or listening to. So when I was doing housework, I was listening to a bit of Montessori's The Absorbent Mind. I'm about halfway through this book. I've got about 3 hours left to listen to on audiobook. So on an Audible audiobook, I purchased it with a credit a while back. Yeah, it's a really interesting book. All the scientific insights that she gives, like being a doctor herself, are really interesting and like fascinating and quite beautifully done. In the book, like her passion for the subject is very like moving in a way, and the book itself gives like a lot of insight I find useful in terms of parenting and like helping my child like learn and reach his full potential, etc. But the one thing that I noticed about her writing today was that she seemed to be a bit prejudiced and racist, and it's a bit contradictory because a lot of what she says about like non-Western civilization is very positive, but today she was talking about how like some languages are more complex than others, and she gave like the example of Latin being a really complex language, and then she went on to say that other languages are less complex and difficult. An example that she gave was an African language, not a specific African language, but like a hypothetical African language. And she was saying like this would be an example of an easy language or a simple language. And I just thought, is that really accurate, or are you being like a bit racist? I don't know enough about different languages to have any like insight into that. But yeah, she's a contradictory writer because, as I said, a lot of what she says about like tribal societies and non-Western societies, parenting in those cultures is like very positive. So I wondered if anyone else has got any insight into whether Montessori was racist or prejudiced. Obviously she was writing a long time ago, so I guess we have to forgive her for being a product of her culture, etc. But yeah, I didn't like that part of the book. And also I found the book incredibly like intense to listen to. It's quite dense with information and like moral outrage as well. Like she's quite disgusted by the way that children are treated, particularly by like wealthy Western societies and families, like the prevalence of like nannies and boarding schools, etc. She is quite enraged by, so almost it's a bit heavy going to listen to, but I will continue on with it and finish it eventually. I've got like 3 hours left to listen to. As I said, I may listen to it, finish it tomorrow if I have time, whilst I'm just like finishing up the housework. And then moving on to the second audiobook I was listening to today, that was a book called Japanese History in a Nutshell, which is a really cool, concise history of like different historical periods in Japan and like how it was ruled over by different like regimes and classes of people, etc. And like Japanese history throughout time, up until like the 19th, from the like first settlers in Japan to the 1970s really. And it was done in a really like informative, incisive, like concise manner. I really appreciated that book, and I'm definitely going to go and listen to it again and make some notes, because that subject is like quite important to me, quite significant to me. So yeah, and interesting. I really like history in general, but like I'm very interested in Japan, so yeah, I'm gonna take notes on it, and hopefully like consolidate some of what I learned today, like in my brain. So let's move on to the books, the physical books that I'm reading. So I suppose in a way I should talk about this one first, as it deals with Japan as well. It's also a history book. It's a primary source that was written by a doctor who survived somehow the Hiroshima bombing, and his like well, I read the first diary entry anyway, and that obviously covers the day that the bomb was dropped on Hiroshima, and how he was like seriously injured, somehow survived that event. I think I'm gonna really like this book. The character of the doctor, obviously he's a real person, but like his character is extremely stoic and comes across as like very observant and intelligent, and also like quite community spirited and socially orientated as well. So he's a likable character from the get-go, and like as I said, he's very observant, and like the observations he makes are quite powerful. Like at one point in the first diary entry, he talks about how Hiroshima looks small because there's nothing in it anymore. Like there's no houses and buildings, it's just flattened. Yeah, so it's like really striking the way he writes about what's actually happened to his city at the end of the Second World War. So yeah, that's the Doctor of Hiroshima, and it was written by a man called Dr. Michihiko Hachiya. And yes, I think I'm going to like that book in a similar way to enjoying like the tattooist of Auschwitz, and that while they deal with like such extreme like suffering and tragedy, they're life affirming books. Apparently this one is like, that's what it says in the forward, it's like a celebration of life after experiencing so much death around you. The other book that I'm reading still is Circe. Now I'm still on like page 102 or something. Like I've only just reached 100 pages in the book. It's not to say I'm not enjoying it. The language is quite dense, and it's more just the fact that I haven't picked it up for a week or two. But I did just read a chapter, and I'm loving this book. It kind of reminds me of a book I read whilst I was in the New Age, which was Practical Magic, which at the time I loved, but now I'm not so sure if I should love it, given the fact that I don't practice any occult practices anymore, and they're kind of glamorized in that book, whereas in this book they are not at all. Like it's so that's the difference, they're not exactly the same, but yeah, I've just reached a part where the goddess who's like done magic like has come to see that like some of the things that she manifested or did spells to create, like to manifest, were done out of like foolishness and arrogance, etc. So I'm not sure how this book is going to end. I'm really interested to see what goes on going forward. I think it's got like 300 and something pages, 330 pages. So I'm about a third of the way through, and I will let you know what I think when I finish it. Hopefully it won't take me too much longer, so I can come back to you with like a review or whatever. I'm not sure, let me know if you'd be interested in that. But yeah, the writing style is really cool. I wonder whether Madeline Miller is like a young author, because it seems like it was written by someone young, not because it's like immature writing or anything. It just seems like quite like, I don't know, just useful. Something like the writing seems useful. I'm gonna Google after this how old the writer is and like where they're from. I just get the feeling it's a young person who's written this book. Because it seems quite like up to date in terms of its perspective, and like, yeah, also the goddess in the book is like not an old woman. I don't know if she can age or not, but she comes across as like a young person, even though she's thousands of years old. But yes, it's a gorgeously written book. I love the writing style. So with that being said, I might talk a little bit about a TBR going forward, like what I would like to read next. I really don't know, so I'm happy to receive recommendations, or if anyone would like to read a book together, like a book that's on their TBR, you'd like to suggest that I read that, and like we can talk about it together in the comments or whatever, or in person, but via email, that would be cool. And yeah, with that being said, I think I'm done here. Like, comment and subscribe. Oh no, I do want to say I'm quite interested to read a book called Black and British. It's a book by a historian called David Olusoga. I think I'm pronouncing his name right, I'm not sure, hopefully I am. Apologies if I got it wrong. But yeah, it's 24 hours on Audible. It's a long book. So I'm a bit daunted by like picking that one out and like buying it with my Audible token, because I don't know if I'll be able to like commit to such a big book at the moment. But I don't know, I think I'm just making excuses for myself, because it is long, and I hope I don't get bored by it, but I don't think I will. I think I'd find it really interesting. So yeah, I think that's one, because I've got 2 Audible credits left now till next month. So yeah, I think that's going to be one of the books that I download on Audible. And then like for physical books, obviously I need to get through these 2 first before I think about reading another book. But I think my next book is gonna be either the sequel to The Hunger Games or Passing by Nella Larson. So yeah, it's a toss up between those 2. Oh, and I need to finish Claudia by Diana Wallace Taylor at some point as well. So yeah, and then anything else that was on my TBR video? Oh yeah, Sherlock Holmes. Stories of Sherlock Holmes. I'd quite like to read those. I might take those on holiday with me in the summer. They might be like quite a good book to read if I've got any like time to read on holiday. I'm going with my son, so gonna be mostly like looking after him. But if I get some time at night time to like have a quick read, that could be cool to read Sherlock Holmes stories, 1 or 2. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please let me know if you did, and what you're reading, and what you'd recommend I read what next, or what you'd recommend I download on Audible with my extra credit. So sorry about sniffing like that. It's a bit gross, but take care and have a lovely rest of your day. Bye.